Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Jefferson Highway Show. This historic highway was formed in 1915 by the Jefferson Highway Association. It runs from Winnipeg, Canada, all the way to New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's go! So welcome, everyone. We are very excited today because we're going to go to Greenville, Texas. Greenville is an awesome destination on the Jefferson Highway, and it is also really close to Denison, Texas, also Bonham, which is definitely a destination you want to go to, which we did. Nancy and I, hosts of Big Blend Radio and publishers of Big Blend magazines, we're the ones who are working on the Jefferson Highway Travel Guide. And you can go to jeffersonhighwaytravelguide.com to check out how we're moving forward with this digital guide and also an online travel directory to help you plan your travels. Well, we went to Greenville, Texas, in the fall of 2025 after meeting Stacy Foley at the Jefferson Highway Conference in McAlester, Oklahoma. And we're like, oh, we're going to be near the area. Let's go. And we all like, let's go. Let's make it happen. So for new listeners who don't know much about the Jefferson Highway is a 115-year-old highway, actually older than Route 66, which is celebrating its centennial this year. And stay tuned in future episodes or go to jeffersonhighway.org is your best bet to learn about the upcoming conference for the Jefferson Highway that is going to be sharing some history with Route 66 this year. Anyway, the Jefferson Highway is a 115-year-old international treasure. It's known as the Pine to Palm route, and it stretches from Winnipeg, Canada, all the way to New Orleans. And we are having this massive revival for the past 10, 15, maybe 20 years of traveling this route, getting signs up everywhere. That's what the association is so fantastic about. Now, normally Roger Bell is on the show with us. He's the president of the Jefferson Highway Association. But because we went to Greenville, we wanted to do this series. And honestly, we were there for, I think, maybe 3 nights. And we just got so much footage, coverage. It's been a little bit overwhelming, even putting this together, of how much we accomplished and got to experience as travelers to this wonderful destination that is on the Jefferson Highway. So we decided then this is the northeast portion of Texas, right? So we've created a special 4-day virtual travel guide we're calling Find Your Heart in Greenville. And so I want to thank Nancy and I both want to thank Stacy Foley, the tourism manager for the city of Greenville, because she was our amazing tour guide and she really showed us the heart of the community and showed us why Greenville is the perfect home base for the highway traveler. We started off, we drove from Lubbock, Texas that time. By the way, Lubbock, Texas has a connection to Iowa, to Mason City region, because Lubbock, Texas is the birthplace of Buddy Holly. And you got to go to Iowa and go to Mason City. And that is where he sadly, the day the music died, he was part of that plane crash. And that is where he passed. But anyway, so there's all these ties to the Jefferson Highway. That's all I'm saying. So there's my rabbit hole for today's show. But anyway, we got there and we were greeted by a full moon performance of Romeo and Juliet in the downtown region where they actually have their farmers market. And this is this just beautiful community play sitting outside the full moon. It was awesome. That was our start to our adventure. We stayed at the Comfort Suites. And when they say suite, it truly is huge, spacious room, a great place to work, even like a little mini living room area. Of course, you got the breakfast in the morning and easy parking, close to restaurants and gas stations, close to the highway, everything. So shout out to the Comfort Suites for hosting us there. It was fantastic. So from there, the first day we arrived, Stacy played tour guide. And we got in her Greenville city van and we decided, well, before we do anything, we need to explore the Jefferson Highway routes. And we had already done Denison, but we went through Wolf City and we went to Bonham. And this is through these historic, what they call Blackland cotton fields. The Blackland has to do with the soil. These cotton fields are really, really huge in regards to the history of Greenville, Texas. So we went through that region. We did see some cotton fields. Did we get lost? Yes, we did. And we have more stories coming on this 4-part series. But when we got to Bonham, we got to see that incredible, just massive courthouse, this historic courthouse, and it's like a plaza where you can go on a historic downtown walking tour. Bonham and Denison have both been doing amazing work getting signage up. We got to meet with Melissa over at Bonham and got to go have lunch with her. But also, Priscilla, our pink sock monkey, who is our travel mascot, got to finally meet Stinky the donkey, who's the Jefferson Highway mascot. This is the most important thing of this whole thing, right? Priscilla and Stinky, they are now united as one, as buddies traveling. So their first adventure past Bonham and Greenville was Bunkie, Louisiana. So some of you may have seen those photos, but isn't this cool? We've got 2 mascots on the highway, and so watch for more of that. Anyway, day 1 for today's show, we're going to start with a foundation of Greenville, Texas. And we've got to understand the history before we can go to today's lifestyle. So we're going to go to the Audie Murphy American Cotton Museum. And we talked with Executive Director Susan Lanning about the white gold that built this region and also the legacy of one of America's most decorated soldiers, Audie Murphy. And so the roadmap for the rest of the series is day 2, which will air tomorrow, Friday, February 27th at 6 p.m. Central Time. Of course, you can listen as they go live or later. It is all about finding your heart in community. And day 3 is Find Your Heart on Stage and Street. That airs Saturday at 6 p.m. Central. That would be Saturday, February 28th. And then we go to Find Your Heart in a Glass, and that will air March 2nd at 6 p.m. Central Time. So you can check the show notes for our Jefferson Highway guide to learn more about the Texas route. It's all listed in the episode notes, but also subscribe to the Jefferson Highway Substack, and then you'll be notified as we release these updates. Because this whole series is about finding your heart in Greenville, because they have these amazing hearts all throughout the downtown. It's really just find your heart in Greenville. And when we were there, we found just an amazing community. When we were there, it was the beginning of them getting ready for Bras for a Cause, this amazing benefit for breast cancer and breast cancer research. And the whole community gets together to do these incredible, well, you got to see it, Bras for a Cause. You got to see it. Stay tuned for that for next episode. But right now, let's go to the museum. It's a very short interview, which I wish we spent longer because this museum is so massive. There's an outdoor and an indoor part of it, and they have a heart. So anyway, here's our conversation with Susan Lanning. Again, check the episode notes for all the links. 1, to subscribe to get updates on the Jefferson Highway travel guide and the podcast. And 1 is to check out the Texas directory for the Jefferson Highway. And of course, we want you to have the link directly for Greenville so you can plan your visit, and also the link for the museum. So thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you go to Greenville and have as much fun as Nancy and I and Priscilla had, because it is an amazing destination that is a must visit. All right, everyone. So now we are finally here at the Audie Murphy American Cotton Museum. Did I get that name right, Susan?
That's right, yeah.
Well, Susan's here, and she has been on the podcast, the Jefferson Highway podcast, before. We can't remember when, because it was a couple years.
It was at least 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, you were on because we were doing military history. And I remember going, okay, just stay on a little longer because I had more to say. And then I didn't ask you really. And then coming here now definitely belonged on the Military History Museum because you have a lot of wars represented by.
We do.
We have a whole war wing.
Yeah, we have a whole military section representing everything that happened in this area from the Civil War up through Vietnam. And also even more current, where we have a wall of honor for some of our current and more recent veterans.
That's really nice because you tell their story of who they are.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I love that because, again, like I was saying, people are not just numbers that you see on the news, you know. These are actual humans and who they are and what they went through and the bravery.
That's right, yeah.
You know, and how they served. Obviously, cotton is a big deal. So And you've got a big cotton thing. What's the big cotton thing?
We do. We have the engine of the compress, and our compress here was the largest compress that was away from the ocean. And so we only have the engine left. But even so, you look at that engine and it's huge.
I don't know how they got it in here. I don't. You got a gas tank?
You do? A gas pump? Yes.
Is that a gas pump?
That was on the honor system back then, where the gallons are numbered and you had to figure out yourself how many gallons you took.
Wow. On the honor system. That was back in the day.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was back in the day. But also, so really showing the life of families here in the role of cotton.
That's right. And all of early Hunt County history. We really cover the whole history of Hunt County, and from the early settlers, the Native Americans, to the people and what happened here. Having cotton, which that was a major agricultural lifestyle for them after the first train came through in 1881. And then as that kind of went down, then other things took its place. There's a lot of fascinating history. I mean, Hunt County is only, how many people now? About somewhere around 90,000 people. So it's not that big of a county, but there's a lot of interesting people and things that happened in this area that people have no clue about, even those that live.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, it's just when you look at all the different stories, you've got the Native Americans represented, the Caddo, right? Yes. The Caddo represented. So going from there all the way through the sports people, you got a lot of sports people.
That I do. Monty Stratton, if anybody plays baseball or knows your baseball history, he was from this area. And the fact that we beat the Yankees one year in a game was a big deal to the people that lived here. So there's just, lots of little tidbits of history.
So you got women's history?
Yes, everything from Janet Yeager, who, if you recognize that name, she flew on the Voyager and around the world, did that nonstop around the world flight. And Olivia Scales, she was one of the early Black principals, first one, I think, and Mary Jim Morris as well. I'd have to look to see which one was first.
Yeah, I mean, and then you've got the lady with the
Gussie Nell Davis.
Yes, you're gonna have to come on a show with these ladies. But she
started the Flaming Flashes, she started the whole dance and twirl movement, and which our high school it was called the Flaming Flashes, and she really became known when she went on to Kilgore and started the Kilgore Rangerettes.
Okay,
but a lot of people don't realize she actually started back here before going on to that.
Okay, so lots of women's history, but you also see how the women lived. Look at you have a sharecropper cabin, and so a lot of people won't even realize that that's what it was like for cotton pickers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Over here in Texas. So this was a huge cotton area, but it was the boll weevil, you were saying that?
It really decimated the cotton plants. Yeah, the whole cotton industry in the late 40s, early 50s. And it changed everything here. People stopped growing cotton and had to start growing something else, or they moved out to West Texas and started growing cotton out there. Went into factories or started cattle.
So commerce just changed. Everybody had to just jump in and go, okay, now what?
Yep.
Okay, wow.
And it changed. What's also interesting is it changed just as fast the other way. I mean, before the train came through, this area was not known for cotton. They only grew about 10 bales a year because it took too long to take it by a wagon to the trains, to the steamboat in Jefferson. So it wasn't economically feasible to do that. So they only grew enough for local. And then the train came through, and within a year, they were doing over 1,000 bales. I mean, it skyrocketed just as quickly as it went down.
Oh, well, that's kind of sad. Well, you're going to learn about cotton here, even the fact that there's cotton in your ice cream.
Cotton in your ice cream, and how many people know that cotton can be grown in different colors.
Did not know that.
Yes.
Oh, you're going to learn a lot here. And you do a lot of school groups for people.
We
do.
That's
That's cool. So I know that people driving on the Jefferson Highway, great place for families to come in here. Anybody who's interested in military history and TV film history, which also goes to Audie Murphy.
That's right.
I can't leave him off of this conversation. So that's really a big part of this museum is remembering him and his legacy.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, military and acting songs.
That's right. That's right. He was a singer. Yeah.
He wrote songs.
Yeah.
He didn't sing them, but yeah, he wrote songs that a lot of big name people sang. So yeah, and think of all the things he did. He died when he was only 46.
Wow, that's young.
And yeah, think of all what else he could have done.
And so he has a club now in his.
Yes, in the Army, there's what's called the Sergeant Audie Murphy Club, and that is something that the Army does. It's not for officers, and it's very difficult to get into. Somebody has to nominate you, and you have to go through some very rigorous testing and what they call oral boards. They're given like situations and they have to figure out how to respond to those situations, both, and they have to know everything about Audie forwards and backwards. And one of the coolest things is usually every year, one of the groups out of Dallas will bring them that training group here and they'll tour the museum. And sometimes they're told at the end of the tour outside which ones made it to the next step.
Oh, wow.
So I really like that. I get it.
You're all part of that.
We've had, this one's funny. Okay. We've had people propose here.
No way.
We're often one of the first date night places to go. You know, Greenville doesn't have a whole lot of nightlife.
I don't know. We just heard rail.
And so we have had several times where they'll come back and he surprises her by proposing because this was the first place where they met.
Well, you know what? A museum is a cool place to go on a date because you're talking about something, learning about something, and seeing where it ties, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, do we want to live in a sharecropper cabin? Or do we want the house down the street? I don't know.
But it's really sweet when it happens. It's really cool.
That's awesome. What is your website for everyone to come and plan?
You can just go to cottonmuseum.com and our calendar's on there.
You've got all kinds of events happening.
We do.
You've got like things going on. Is there like activities in the front happening?
Yeah, this weekend. Yes, we set up last weekend. We have turned our grounds into a miniature golf course for Saturday.
Why not?
So, yeah.
Go play around, you know, play at the museum. I like it. And you have moving exhibits like right now you've got hats.
Yeah, we have a temporary hat display. And this winter is actually we're partnering with the university, East Texas A&M University, and their class is doing our exhibit. They're learning about exhibit making this fall.
Cool.
So we're letting them do our exhibit instead.
I love it. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on the Big Blend Radio Jefferson Highway Show. The show airs every fourth Thursday, and we encourage you to go to jeffersonhighway.org to learn more about the Jefferson Highway Association or even become a member. You can also dig into the history of the highway and share travel notes with friends at the Jefferson Highway Association Facebook group. Follow our shows at bigblendradio.com. Happy travels!